This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Let's untangle a tangled web that's been woven by Mike Roman, co-conspirator with Donald Trump in Georgia, along with his attorney Ashley Merchant, who apparently is coordinating with Fani Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney's special prosecutor, in his divorce proceeding in order to interfere improperly with the prosecution against Donald Trump and Mike Roman. And now we know all about it in a new filing by Fani Willis just today in the divorce proceeding related to Nathan Wade, the special prosecutor in her office, where they lay out minute by minute what happened on January 8th in the apparent coordination between Nathan Wade, Fani Willis's special prosecutor for Donald Trump and the 14 others, and the ex-wife of the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, who all of a sudden on the same day started filing things and trying to depose Fani Willis to obtain improper discovery and deposition testimony at the very same time that Mike Roman was alleging an improper relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, that in his view, somehow, without any justification or backup, undermines and compromises the criminal indictment and investigation of Mike Roman and others without explanation. Now it's all, the worm has turned, and Fani Willis is going to have her day. Fortunately, she spent the part of the weekend having to defend herself from the pulpit of a church, a well-known church in Georgia, on the eve of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, in which she defended her decisions, her judgment, her discretion as a prosecutor to assign whomever she likes to the prosecution of Donald Trump and the others, and that the only reason that she's being attacked and that he's being attacked is because of the color of their skin and because they want to try to get her off the case. Listen, we've been following it on Legal AF for the last year. They have tried every which way they can, every which way but Sunday, to get Fani Willis off this case. And when the MAGA House tried and failed to have her come in for an investigation at the House Oversight Committee in D.C., and she schooled the chairman of that committee then, when that failed, when the Georgia GOP right-wing MAGA congresspeople in the House in Georgia tried to have her fired and removed by the governor, and Governor Kemp stood up for Fani Willis and said, no way. When that failed, what are you left with? One of the dirtiest alleged co-conspirators with Donald Trump is Mike Roman, Donald Trump's election day coordinator, who, as I've said before, is alleged to have been the mule who brought and coordinated the fake elector certificates from each battleground state to have them delivered to Mike Pence in a pressure campaign through members of Congress. That Mike Roman, the same Mike Roman who Ken Chesbro, the architect of the fake elector scandal and scheme, right, is testifying against. We already know that from audio clips of Ken Chesbro's testimony to the Michigan Attorney General in their investigation of the fake elector scheme. Mike Roman, as I said a couple of weeks ago on Legal AF, should cut a deal. But instead, he's just a puppet on the string of MAGA and Donald Trump, and has decided the best way is to have his lawyer, Ashley Merchant, let's put her up on the screen for a moment, okay, file a baseless, scurrilous, scandalous motion against Fani Willis, unsupported by any sworn statements, declaration, or evidence, and not citing to any relevant rule of professional conduct or ethics that's been violated, nor addressed in any way how the indictment and the prosecution is somehow compromised by the fact that Fani Willis, a consenting adult, who's in her 40s, may be going out for drinks and having a relationship of some kind with a friend of hers named Nathan Wade. Right? And so now we have it. Now they went too far, as they often do in that world. And now they've been caught conspiring together with Nathan Wade's ex-wife in her divorce proceeding, try to undermine Fani Willis and interfere interfere with the criminal prosecution, a point that will now be brought forward, I am sure, in new filings by Fani Willis that will be filed soon with Scott McAfee, the presiding judge in the criminal case. Filing today is in the divorce court because all of a sudden, in a 2-year divorce, where the parties have already told the court that their marriage has already told the court that their marriage is irretrievably broken, which is the magic language you use, that this Humpty Dumpty is not being put back together again, that the marriage is gone. And the reason that it's gone, as Fani Willis pointed out in her filing, and kudos, chef's kiss to her, is because the former Mrs. Nathan Wade had an affair with Nathan Wade's best friend. Yep, that'll do it. That usually leads to irretrievably broken marriage. And because the marriage is irretrievably broken, and the parties have maintained that, then what does Fani Willis, in her wearing her Fulton County DA hat or any other hat, what can she contribute in a sworn statement or a deposition in the divorce proceeding about what she is or isn't doing with Nathan Wade? It doesn't matter. The grounds for the divorce have already been established. She can't contribute to anything. So it's obvious that the only reason that she's being brought in on such short notice in a 2-year-old divorce proceeding is to undermine the election. And that's the conspiracy that's alleged in the motion. I'm going to read to you now that you know the players, such as they are. I want to read to you now from Fulton County DA Fani Willis's motion filed on her behalf, emergency motion for non-party deponent for a protective order, because they're seeking a deposition all of a sudden out of the blue in 2 weeks' time from the filing on January 23rd, 2024. Now, here's what they lay out for this judge, the presiding judge in a divorce proceeding, and that will likely and certainly be presented to Scott McAfee, the presiding judge in Trump's case. And listen to the timeline here that's established by the filing on page 2. On January 8th, 2023, got so close to Jan 6th, on January 8th, 2023 at 12:01 p.m., the defendant in the divorce proceeding, Jocelyn Wade, the soon-to-be ex-wife of the special prosecutor, through her attorney, attempted to serve Fani T. Willis with a notice of deposition. That's Q&A, question and answer under oath with the court reporter, as if you're in court. Jocelyn Wade is the defendant wife in the above titled domestic case. That's at 12:01 p.m. on the 8th. Also on January 8th, Michael Roman, who was defendant in the election interference case, through his attorney, Ashley Merchant, filed a motion to unseal the divorce matter. Same day. Outsiders, drive-by, Mike Roman, no relationship to the divorce, files a motion to unseal something that for the last 2 years, the ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife of Nathan Wade, has agreed that it should be sealed. And now she wants it unsealed on the very same day that she wants a deposition. And on the very same day, 4 hours later, January 8th, 2023, also at 4:42 p.m., 4 hours after the divorce proceeding people sought Fani T. Willis's deposition, Michael Roman filed a motion to disqualify the district attorney, her office, and special prosecutor Nathan Wade from further prosecuting the election interference case, citing conflicts of interest, in quotes, with no backup and no support. All on January 8th. The worm is turning in this motion. So the motion goes on to say this high-ranking officials like Fani Willis get almost automatic protective orders, especially when their evidence that's being sought is not relevant, probative, not tending to prove any fact, true or false, in the matter. In an irretrievably broken marriage where the ex-wife has cheated on the husband, where they haven't lived together for the last 2 years, what could she possibly contribute? It's obvious that this is to harass, to conduct discovery improperly to support, right, the skimpy, shop-worn, threadbare motion that was filed by Mike Roman in the criminal case. So they're trying to conduct, in the divorce proceeding, dragging these two people through the mud, or certainly Nathan Wade wearing his "I'm a man trying to get a divorce here" through the mud. And so what the motion so perfectly lays out is that for 26 months, neither the husband nor the wife wanted this unsealed. They wanted it sealed to protect their privacy. And then all of a sudden, on the same day that Mike Roman files his motion to disqualify, is the same day that the wife agrees to let him unseal the record and to seek a deposition against Fani Willis. We smell a rat. Something is rotten in Denmark. And so this is how Fani Willis puts it. That on further information and belief, this is on page 8, defendant Jocelyn Wade, soon to be ex-wife Nathan Wade, has conspired with interested parties in the criminal election interference case. Read that as Mike Roman and his lawyer, to use the civil discovery process here in the divorce to annoy, embarrass, and oppress District Attorney Willis, right? And to undermine the ongoing criminal investigation. I mean, that's the most damning language in here, that it's being used to undermine the criminal case. And that's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. And so it goes on to say, in support of this contention, and then here's what they lay out on page 8. A defective subpoena for the deposition of the district attorney was conspicuously coordinated with pleadings in the election interference case. Specifically, criminal defendant Michael Roman filed a motion seeking to unseal Mr. and Mrs. Wade's divorce proceeding on the same day and within hours of defendant Jocelyn Wade's public request to depose Miss Willis as part of the divorce proceeding, meaning that Roman coordinating with the ex-wife, and the ex-wife, whether on purpose, intentionally or unintentionally, to get back at the husband, but what she's doing is interfering with the criminal prosecution, is going to take the deposition if she had her way, and then if it was unsealed, if the whole matter was unsealed, that deposition would then get filed by the ex-wife, and it could be used by Mike Roman and others to embarrass, annoy, harass Fani Willis and special counsel Nathan Wade, to back them off almost as an extortionist attempt here to undermine the prosecution and the prosecutors. And then it goes on to say that prior to the attempted service of the subpoena, the Wade and his ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, filed a consent motion. They both agreed to seal their divorce proceedings, and the court sealed it on February 10th, 2022, almost 2 years ago. It was only after defendant Jocelyn Wade sought to subpoena Fani Willis that there was a request to unseal the divorce proceeding. This sequence of events, coupled with the absence of any relevant basis for deposing District Attorney Willis in an uncontested no-fault divorce, suggests that defendant Jocelyn Wade is using the legal process to harass and embarrass Attorney Willis, and in doing so is obstructing and interfering with an ongoing criminal prosecution. So I don't know what soon-to-be ex-Mrs. Wade thought she was doing, but what she's done is landed herself in jackpot and now is in a co-conspiracy with a co-conspirator of Donald Trump in trying to interfere with the election. And Fani Willis isn't having any of it and bringing it to light now. She laid in wait. She didn't rush to do a press conference when she was attacked for having the relationship. She knew this subpoena was out there, and she knew she's going to do her litigating where it matters. Not on the courthouse steps, not outside a courtroom, but in a courtroom, in filings, on her feet, to defend herself. Maybe Donald Trump's lawyers take a page from that book, and not confuse, as Ron Filipowski of MeidasTouch once said so perfectly, confuse a Newsmax interview with trial work, what you do in a courtroom. And so at the end, here's what Fani wants, and I think Fani's going to get it. Petitioner prays that this court grant a protective order quashing the subpoena, that she be awarded attorney's fees and expenses, and the alternative that she be given 180 days to complete a review of the filings, investigate and depose relevant witnesses with regard to the interference and obstruction this motion contends. In other words, give me 6 months to conduct an investigation as the district attorney. Oh, Mrs. Wade, you've bought off more than you can chew. And then having barring a protective order quashing the motion, this court should order that Wade provide a scope of information sought in the deposition. In other words, what does she want to ask me about? And then and go from there, and that be awarded other relief as this court deems appropriate. Signed, a lawyer representing the Fulton County District Attorney. And then we got a copy of the witness subpoena that was served on her. We're going to continue to follow how Fani Willis so perfectly plays quadruple level chess against people playing Parcheesi and checkers in a courtroom, which is her natural, successful habitat and school. All of these lawyers, including Ashley Merchant representing Mike Roman. You thought Alina Habba was over her skis and drowning in her trial presentation in federal court? Wait till you see all of the lawyers against Fani Willis, who's now a very pissed off Fulton County District Attorney. And if Mike Roman thought that this gambit at going after her personally, misogynistically, racially, to attack her judgment, her professional instincts, her powers, was going to be successful in getting her removed and getting his indictment dismissed, he's got another thing coming. It's an old adage about when you shoot at the king. If you shoot at the king, you better be successful. Otherwise, you're just going to have a wounded, pissed off king. And same thing with prosecutors. If he thought he was going to take her out, and I mean that from a procedural standpoint, he's wrong. And now you just have a supremely focused and annoyed prosecutor who's going to come down hard on Mike Roman in front of the right court, Scott McAfee presiding over the criminal case. We'll follow it here on the MeidasTouch Network. Only one place, you know it. Don't change that dial. Stay here on the MeidasTouch Network for everything at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. We do it in podcasts like Legal AF. Yes, the title is just what you think. We do it Wednesdays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, and on hot takes like this one at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. So until my next hot take, give me a thumbs up here, leave a comment, keeps the lights on, keeps the ratings up. Until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.